I think we need to introduce some new episodes. And I know I'm signing myself up for more work, but there's a reason. I'm Daniel Whittington. I'm the Chancellor at Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. And tell you a little story about the beginnings of this channel. So when we first started, we had massive growth really fast. And it was due to a ton of things, a lot of different factors. One of them was there was nothing like what we were doing in the YouTube review space for whiskey. We knew how to design an episode, and we knew how to hit marks, and we had great back and forth dialogue and energy. And then you guys, mostly because you guys showed up, got really engaged really fast, and all of the view times and the clicks and the likes started sort of like shifting gears on our channel. And YouTube took notice and started promoting us more, and that sort of grew everything. And then you guys started sending in whiskey. And it was sort of a joke at first. I think it was Jeffrey that sent the first one, and it was sort of a challenge, and we responded, and then he mailed in a bottle, and then we're like, crap. And then you guys started mailing in cool things, and we started reviewing it. And it changed everything. And I think in a lot of good ways, but there were some other impacts to that, and then there were some other changes later. So first, we put all of our energy into that channel, and then Rex was trying to create sort of experimental growth content. And so I don't know if you remember this, but before Tribe, there was an era where the Whiskey Vault channel had like top 10 lists and best whiskey for the budget and all of these like discovery content things that like YouTube really rewarded. And still, those are our most viewed videos by astronomical amounts, way bigger than Daniel and Rex Drink Maker's Mark, right? Interesting. And then a couple of things changed. More and more, you guys started sending in really small craft stuff that no one could get their hands on. And because we had promised you, we kept reviewing things and talking about it. And that turned into from like months of doing that to years of doing that. And then second, we started the Whiskey Tribe channel, and Rex moved all of the discovery content and the big, easy, clickable stuff over to Tribe to grow Tribe. So all of that huge growth energy completely redirected to Whiskey Tribe. And the Vault just became insider conversations with whiskey no one can get. And I know you guys remember this and you know this. And behind the scenes, it decimated the growth of the Vault channel. Just decimated it. At one point, we were getting 5,000 to 10,000 new subscribers a month, sometimes 6 figures in like a 3 or 4 month period. And then when all of that content moved to Tribe and we started reviewing whiskey no one could get, we went down to where we're doing like somewhere between 700 and 1,000 new subscribers a month. And then it sort of stabilized, and it's been that way now for like 3 years. And in the meantime, Tribe just sort of moved into the front place like a giant behemoth. And if we had been a smaller channel, it would have destroyed us. Because we were already so big and had so much momentum, and there are still some findable content videos in our historical backlog, it just sort of like leveled us out, and we've just been kind of plugging along. We have yet to see what these changes we've made to the channel are going to do to us in the long run. We'll know a year or two from now. But it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm really not. And I'm going to tell you why I kind of want to go back to some things, but not the way that we did it before. But first, let's talk about Cotswolds. So this is an English distillery, and we've reviewed their stuff before. But this is a single malt distillery, and this is their inaugural release. And so this was released, it's batch 1 2017, 4,000 bottles. And according to them, this is all locally grown barley from a local farm, the Bradwell Grove farm. And it's a mix of ex-bourbon and STR red wine barrels. And STR means shave, toast, rechar, which means you take a barrel and you shave the old char off of it, you toast it, rechar it again, and sort of like revive a cask. And 3 years old, they say. Distilled in September of 2014 and then released in 2017. And it really has this like sort of dusty pear and like honey and peaches It's really fruity. The red wine, or what I would think might come from red wine, is not really dominating anything. It's subtle. The malt is in charge here. The barley itself feels like it's in charge of this glass. It doesn't smell new-makey, but it does have those really young, vibrant fruit notes of a younger malt. The hint of vanilla and a little bit of sort of, lemon zest, like an mixed with the grain bin. It's very nice, kind of lemon icing. Oh, okay, there you go. So it's proof down, I think it's 46. Yep, 46%. It's got a lot of character for 46. But it does taste a little bit thin, like where your first sip it goes poof and sort of, fruit, cream, honey, barley, and then sort of thins out and dissipates, like watching a carbonated beverage, the head on a carbonated beverage sort of lower and sparkle and dissipate. This lives in the high end, no mids, no tail, no lows, high end sparkly treble with a little bit of oil. I'm really excited to see what these guys do. This is a really high quality malt, I think. It's a great start. And a good whiskey. I mean, it's very good, drinkable all on its own, but really excited to see how that profile develops as it gets more oxidation and more additive properties, and those malt barley notes start to sort of subside. This is delicious. Really well done. Yeah, nice. Okay. England is a growing whiskey market, and if you haven't investigated the craft whiskey movement in England, you should. There's a lot of really cool things happening. With English Whiskey Company and Cotswolds, and yeah, there's a handful. They're just working on building out an association and sort of struggling with all of the struggles that you have at the beginning of a craft movement. Same thing we had to figure out with the Texas Whiskey Association, and heavy, strong personalities and sort of sometimes conflicting views of how the world should work and how you should describe things, but they're finding their footing, and we all get to see it. And I just think that's a really exciting thing, to get to be on the sidelines as an industry begins and get to watch it grow. And that's really cool. And these guys are a great addition to the English whiskey world. Anyway, okay. So, channel, growth, change. All right. We've been doing now 3 months, roughly 3 months, of this style of video where nerd out on things, or I pick a topic, or we talk about whiskey and a story or an idea and a theory, and that was just because I needed to rewrite the whole story for this channel. But it lost me something that I want to return to. And one of those was, as craft distilling grew all over the world, not just in the US, YouTube slowly became a place that was a potential way to get eyes on their product. A lot of times craft guys don't have a ton of money, and they can't spend, commercials, and they can't buy giant billboards at conventions or a full page spread for Whiskey Advocate. But, they could reach out to, and it wasn't YouTube first, it was bloggers. Like a lot of American whiskey, it was bloggers and internet authors and reviewers who all of a sudden started getting sent samples or emailed or invited out to the distillery and wined and dined. And then YouTube started, and YouTube was definitely treated like distant second cousin. It was just, hey guys, can I come in? Nope, sorry. The YouTube doesn't make any sense. That's just that click world. All those kids are doing videos. But that's not true anymore. YouTube is now a stabilized and solid source of brands looking to promote with creators. And what I loved about our channel is we are now the second biggest whiskey channel on YouTube, period. And someday, if all goes well, we won't be, because I love to see the whiskey review community and the whiskey YouTube community growing. And there are people who could put their full-time energy into it and just blow past us. I think that would be astounding. But right now, we're still second biggest by a long shot. And when we were reviewing all this whiskey that you guys sent in, we were giving the opportunity, you were giving the opportunity, not us, to all these craft distilleries who can never afford a budget to pay us to review a whiskey. And by the way, on a channel of our size, it's not a ton of money, but on a channel of our size, You could expect a brand to spend somewhere between $2,000 to $6,000 to be fully promoted on an episode. And our channel, Vault, never done that. We've never taken money to advertise a bottle. You got all these YouTube channels, you've got no room or no budget, and all of a sudden, their whiskey's being talked about on the first or second biggest channel for whiskey on YouTube. And ask several of them. It's had a very big impact on them. And we've been able to create positive movement in the craft industry just by shining a light on things. And as we changed, or as I changed the content of this channel, we sort of lost that ability. But I love craft, and I love helping these small brands grow and promote themselves. And I love talking about cool things that craft is doing and shining a light on it. So I'm gonna add that back in. I don't entirely know how, and you're gonna watch me sort of fumble and test out ways to do it. Sort of how in the early days of Vault, we tried like 4 different ways of talking about whiskey before we landed on what became the Vault style channel. I'm gonna do it by myself. I can't try to pretend to do the dialogue combo of me and Rex. That's not gonna work. So I need to figure out, what does a Vault review do that's different than other people, or that adds something different? And I don't entirely know yet, and you're gonna watch me sort of fumble around and try it, but I think what we're gonna do is start trying to create episodes where I talk about craft that I care about and that I think is important, stuff you won't be able to get unless you're in certain areas, and shine a light on people. And it's not gonna be 3 episodes a week, but maybe it's a Friday episode that's like the Rare Whiskey Friday idea, you know? Where it's like, hey, here's some stuff you can't get. Happy Friday. And we release it a couple times a month or once a month, or I don't know. I'm still in the early stages, and I've never done this before, but I'm letting you guys in on the thought process of trying to figure it out. There's a chance by the time this episode comes out, we'll have one that week, because I shoot a little bit ahead, so we got some runway here. And then I have a question for you, and that's what I'm gonna end with. This is a very weird video. This is more for insiders than in promotion or in talking about big ideas. I get sent stuff by brands. Even when I email them and say, hey, I'm good. I can't guarantee you I'm gonna talk about it. I'll probably never talk about it. Your money is better spent sending it to somebody else. And they still send it in. And most of it is like, yeah, great, another version of, Makers or something like that. Oh, another Elijah Craig, but this year's. It's like, that's fine, but that's not a remarkable story. But sometimes it's really interesting stuff, like a 37-year-old blended malt. I think it's 37, a Dewar's 30-something-year-old blended Scotch. And when I get stuff like that, I think, holy crap, it would be fun to drink this and experience it with our community just to see what the heck this is all about. But then they've definitely just sort of like bought a place on the channel. So I'm also not sure what to do with those, but I have an idea. And my idea is that I sort of let you guys experience what I do when I receive one of those, which is just, I put a hat of names, and I have all their bottles behind me, and I pull one out, and I grab a bottle, and then I bring up my laptop, and I just look up what's the story on this thing and drink it and experience it completely blind. And that could be kind of fun. But I think it would be fun content, and for the channel, it would be nice to have some discoverable content for things people are searching for, and I'm just not good at that. Rex is great at clickable titles and clickable themes that like the masses are all like, yeah, I'll watch the top 10 list of blah, blah, blah. I'm terrible at that, guys. I just like doing the nerdy things that I think are interesting, whether or not anyone's gonna click on it. So it's time. I have no idea what we're gonna do, but it should be fun. And I promise you, I'm reading every comment on these videos for suggestions and thoughts on how to accomplish this, because right now it's the only way I can talk to you guys. So, I'm really glad you're here. Cheers.